Since getting a tracheostomy and being started on invasive ventilation 4.5 years ago, tracheostomy tubes have been the bane of my existence. From the first moment I got a tracheostomy tube, I've had issues with it. Unknown to my medical team, my first tracheostomy tube was too long and was digging into my trachea. This caused my breathing to be extremely fast. For my second tracheostomy tube, my doctor wanted me to get a tracheostomy tube, which was made from silicone. He assured me this new tracheostomy tube would make speaking easier. When I got the new trach tube, my tracheostomy site was red, irritated, and had a lot of discharge. It also felt as though someone was pouring acid down my trachea. I had frequent coughing episodes, and my airways produced a lot of mucus. Although I was new to having a tracheostomy tube, I suspected these symptoms were not normal. I struggled for many months. During this time, I scoured the internet and found a tracheostomy tube which was made from polyurethane. I was able to request a different tracheostomy tube. To my delight, the new tracheostomy tube was ordered. When the tracheostomy tube was changed, my breathing immensely improved, my mucus production decreased, and my tracheostomy site stopped being red and swollen. I was excited to see this marked improvement in my health. Once we got my tracheostomy size and material sorted out, I then had an issue with my tracheostomy tube cuff failing. My insurance only pays for one tracheostomy tube every 3 months. Unfortunately for me, my tracheostomy tube cuff never lasts that long. A month after changing out my trach tube, the cuff usually develops a slow leak and will deflate over several hours. I fight through this inconvenience, waking up every few hours during the night to inflate my cuff. By the end of the 3-month time period, my cuff will deflate within an hour of inflating it. When I get a new tracheostomy tube, I celebrate and rejoice. I will again be able to sleep through the night. Sometimes, though, this rejoicing is short-lived. When I changed out my tracheostomy tube a few weeks ago, within a couple of days, the cuff started deflating. I was in a panic. I scoured the internet for a new trach tube, but the trach tube I use could not be found. I gave up and hoped the tracheostomy tube cuff would last another 3 months. With each day, I fought to keep my tracheostomy tube cuff inflated, but every day the cuff started deflating faster and faster. When my tracheostomy tube cuff deflates during the night, my body does not receive full respiratory support. This means my body is not able to get rid of all the carbon dioxide with each breath. By morning, my carbon dioxide levels are very high. Upon waking, I am confused, exhausted, and have an awful headache. For the rest of the day, I have nausea, horrible muscle tremors, and am extremely crabby. I knew I could not tolerate these symptoms for 3 months. I looked through my respiratory supplies and hoped I would find a tracheostomy tube I could use. I am a very frugal person. I do not throw things out unless they are broken and beyond repair. When my silicone tracheostomy tube was exchanged in 2017, it was still in working order. Silicone tracheostomy tubes can be sterilized and reused up to 50 times. My tracheostomy tube could be sterilized many more times. So I did not throw it out. I kept it for emergencies. When I started this YouTube channel, I was grateful to have a spare tracheostomy tube. I used it as a prop and for demonstrations in my videos. When my tracheostomy tube cuff failed a few weeks ago, I looked through my medical supplies. There was my old silicone tracheostomy tube. I groaned as I thought about all the pain this tube caused. But as I continued to look through my inventory, I realized this tracheostomy tube would have to do. I cleaned and sterilized the tracheostomy tube. I then changed it out. As soon as the silicone tracheostomy tube was in my airway, I started violently coughing. I felt as though I was going to die. I went to bed and continued to cough for many hours. To my delight, the tracheostomy tube cuff stayed inflated all night. When I woke up in the morning, I felt like a new person. My headache, exhaustion, and crabbiness all disappeared. However, my tracheostomy site was red, swollen, and draining a lot of pus. My airway felt as though someone was pouring acid down it, and it was full of mucus. I decided getting sleep was more valuable than my new symptoms I was having due to the allergy with the silicone tracheostomy tube. I kept the trach tube in. Over the next week, the constant symptoms became less noticeable. As the weeks have passed, I continue to fight with the silicone. I have to keep my tracheostomy tube holder loose to keep the silicone phalanges on the tracheostomy tube away from my skin. I continue to have a significant cough and my airways produce a lot of mucus. As much as I do not like all these extra symptoms, I am grateful I can sleep through the night without my cuff deflating. I patiently wait for the days to pass. Hopefully, in the next 6 to 8 weeks, I will be able to get a new tracheostomy tube. When that day comes, I will gleefully rip out this tracheostomy tube and replace it with a trach tube I am not allergic to. I will then carefully clean and sanitize this tracheostomy tube, just in case I may need to use it again in the future. Thank you so much for joining me. Please remember to like and subscribe down below. I hope you have a great day and a wonderful week. Bye-bye.